Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
I'ma say this right here, baby, because some of y'all be acting like y'all don't be seeing it. But, baby, playing victim in a situation that you created, oh, yeah, baby, that's narcissistic as hell to me. Hello, somebody. How you gonna create the storm, then get mad when it rain? How you hurt somebody and then get mad that they hurt? How you damage somebody, go outside your way to destroy a person and then get mad when they no longer want to deal with you? Baby, playing a victim in a situation that you created, oh, baby, that's narcissistic as hell to me. I'm sorry, but it is.
I don't enjoy hurting people. I don't enjoy seeing people hurt. I don't enjoy saying things that make people feel bad. That isn't inherent to who I am. But I value truth and love more than making people feel good temporarily. That to me is a bigger issue. And it's simple. Would I want somebody to tell me what I wanted to hear if it wasn't the truth? No. I'd be pissed. That's not my friend. My friend tells me the truth first. That's what I want in my own life. Good friends, tell me that. I'm more concerned if you're afraid to tell people the truth because of what they think of you. Like, what kind of friends do you have?
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning. Happy hump day to my beautiful coffee club. I hope you're doing amazing. You're probably wondering why I'm set so far back. It's because I got this handy dandy, computer keyboard. So I didn't have to, type up, which actually helps because I can't look down. I hate looking down. That's why I'm up. So anyways, this ain't working well with the MacBook. And I checked it. It even has this little button on the back that says you can turn it from Windows to OS system. Well, it ain't working like that. I'm sorry. They even gave me these beautiful little keys to replace them so it can look like it's an Apple keyboard, because it comes set up like it has something set up like the Windows keyboard, and I don't like it, but it doesn't really bother me. I don't care what buttons are on here. I know where my buttons are. I know what buttons to push. But it's not working right, even in the right settings and everything. So I'm probably going to have to send it back, and I'm so upset because I love this keyboard. This is the kind of keyboard when I used to type on a lot. It's an ergonomic keyboard, and it keeps my hands, when you type, like when I used to work and I typed, 8 to 10 hours a day, this is what I had to use. It helps the hands. It helps the hands. Anybody out there that's a typer knows what I'm talking about. Good morning, Sonia. It's nice to see you. Sailor Purge is saying, I got to go back. I got the notification, but I started 20 minutes early. So we could get through the intro and chat and everything, and hopefully start, the session at 6:30. So we'll see. Not like it's going to be like this all the time, but it's like this morning, right? So it's nice to see you, Sonia. Skittles True Crime. Who else do we have in here? Van Lady, don't mind me. I'm working on a mouse. I like this mouse too. It's like a shark fin. Ooh. Sorry. All this neat stuff they have out now. I haven't looked at keyboards in years, right? So anyways, where am I going? I got to go up. Cool Gamer, it's nice to see you. Lulu's Nana, nice to see you. Net L. Who else do we have? Zero Fox Given, nice to see you. Sassy Ladies, we love it. Nice to see you here. Obsessed with True Crime, aren't we all? Who else do we have in here? I already got that one. AM, it's nice to see you. Michelle, Barry's Angels are among us. It's nice to see you here. Good morning. Allie, nice to see you. Karen Davis, swimming from across the pond to be here in Florida with Bullhorn Betty. How's those swimming legs? It's nice to see you. God bless you. It's the real Me Too. Good morning. You're up early. I'm glad you get to be here. You're with me all day. I love it. Angela, it's nice to see you. Who else do we have here? Jason Riddle, good morning. And Jennifer, good morning. Getting crust out of my eyes. I know this is my first coffee. Elsie, it's nice to see you. This is my first cup of coffee. And it's still full. I've been working since 3 a.m. because there was a lot of, I've got to do some research. I can't bring a couple developing. Oh, shoot. I hit the wrong button. Hold on a second. The developing stories. I can't bring to you. I haven't been able to research. So I'll research some of the stories this afternoon that are kind of breaking. They're not, they're big cases, but they're not something that we're going to spend a whole lot of time on personally, because I think that it's not, it's just kind of a one and done thing. There's 2 officers that were federally indicted in Tennessee on civil rights violations, among other things. Dad, burn it. I keep this here, and when I did hit it, I had the thing from going down so much, but then I just hit it, and it started sinking on me as I was sitting here. So you got to keep it still. As long as it stays there and I don't touch it once I get it set, I'm good. And so they were indicted on basically beating this 62-year-old man up. Now, it looks like this man was well known to him. He looks like he, is part of the Skid Row generation. He's just, you can tell he's got alcohol or drug dependency problems. You can just see it all over him. But either way, it doesn't matter what lifestyle you have. It justifies what you're doing at that moment to justify being injured or hurt by a law enforcement officer. So 2 of these Tennessee's officers are, facing federal charges. And so I'm monitoring that situation because the first I heard of it, obviously they're at an indictment time frame. So this had to have happened, within the last year or last 6 months or something to that effect. So we'll monitor that situation and I'll look into it. But this is just because somebody and that they could be violent or resist arrest doesn't mean that you have a right to hurt them unnecessarily. And this is we have good cops. Do I think that these officers intentionally meant to do it? I don't want to. I don't know what was truly in their heart as to why they would do something like this. But sometimes in a heat of a moment, or just like every other person, they have bad days. And it's not an excuse by any stretch of the imagination. There's no good excuse for violating somebody's civil rights by, injuring them and hurting them. And there was a lot more involved in this. And like I said, I'll go into more details of it as it's developing as we speak, because they were just indicted on 5 counts of charges, including obstruction, excessive force, among other charges. So do I think these officers intended to do this? Have they done this before? Because this happened, I would have to imagine that they've used excessive force in the past, because you just don't wake up one day and use excessive force. A lot of these officers are worn down. Some of these street cops, they're worn down from all the crime. And so it, again, doesn't make an excuse for them, but they're human beings just like every one of us. Many of us, we have a bad day. We go to work and we can throw a paper, we throw paper, right? Or, or a pen, right? Or maybe we'll even toss the phone. No big deal. When officers have a bad day, they can potentially take that out on somebody, an unsuspecting person, as opposed to an object like paper or phone. So they are human. I definitely think more training is necessary. I want law enforcement, we have there are bad apples in law enforcement. This was not a black and white crime. This was a white individual. So maybe that might be the reason why it hasn't made a whole lot of attention out there. I'm unsure, but this gentleman, the 62-year-old man, definitely didn't deserve the injustice that he got, even though he appears to be well known. So he's, they're familiar with him. They're familiar with him. So that says a lot. That says a lot. We have a few things to go over this morning, some before we get into the meat and potatoes. Our meat and potatoes of this segment is going to be kind of an update on Carly Russell. We're going to go into some information about Brian Kohberger, and then we're going to spend the rest of the conversation on the Long Island serial killer and any updates going on with them. But before we get started, there's a long-winded language of letting go. So hopefully I don't get tongue-tied as I'm reading this, it's pretty long. It's this down here. It's all of this and all of this. So it's going to be quite extensive, but I'm being moved to read it, right? I'm being moved to read it. July 26th. See what feels right to you. French Valley traffic, Cessna 80809, taking active runway 18 from the left, crosswind depart, French Valley. I turned onto 18, pushed the throttle in, then held my breath as the little gold and white plane sped down the runway and then lifted off the ground. I pulled back the yoke, lifting her gently, but not too gently. She needed to clear the trees, houses, towers in front of me. But if I lifted her too fast or too high, would lose speed and go into a stall. There was a lot to think about trying to do this right. We began to ascend. Just past 500 feet, when the plane began hopping about in the air, it was just the wind, but it was those little burbles of air that lifting and the dropping and beginning to bounce around that made me feel like we were going to suddenly fall out of the sky. You've got the controls, I screamed at Rob. No, you've got the controls, he said, putting his hand routinely on his lap. Rob, I'm scared, I said. I feel uncomfortable. Then breathe. I couldn't breathe, at least not the way he meant. Consciously breathing in and out, calming myself, holding my breath was a habit, one I'd acquired early in my life. Holding my breath was how I responded to my fear. I got the plane up and went up to 1,000 feet, then 2,000 feet. I wasn't comfortable, but I climbed to 5,000 feet so we could do the maneuvers we had planned. I tried to relax and breathe, but I still felt overwhelmed. I can't relax. Rob was fidgeting with something. I wasn't sure what. I kept watching outside of the plane for other traffic, then watching inside the plane at the gauges. I was about to give up trying when suddenly Rob began sticking a piece of paper over each of the dials. What are you doing? I asked. Teaching you to trust yourself, he said. Tell me when it feels like we're going to be at 65 knots, he said. Now I had to relax. About now, I said. He uncovered the dial. We were at 65 knots. Now, do a coordinated turn of 30 degrees without checking the instrument panel, he said. Tell me when it feels right to you. I relaxed even more deeply, gently gliding the plane into a slow coordinated turn. Perfect, he said. Show me the gauges. See, he said confidently, you just scaring yourself by confusing yourself in your head with all these dials. All you think you have to do to get it right. All you really need to do is relax and trust what feels right to you. Let go of the fear and confusion. Stop overwhelming yourself with all you have to do and trying to get it right. Get information, read books, get help, then relax. You know more than you think. You'll know when you're getting it right. Trust what feels right to you. God help me learn to let go of my fears and trust when it feels right to me. So it's basically saying you've got the information, you know what to do, but you're psyching yourself out. You are truly psyching yourself out from doing amazing things. So live and let go, right? Live and let go. Good morning, ZA. Good morning. And lastly, I know I've been really bad about this because I've been under so much pressure here with all the cases, which I know I need to limit some of the cases. And we are only really dealing with, 3 major cases right now, and then adding a couple things to those very cases. And it's just been a struggle because they're all popping right now. Usually when you're covering cases, you have downtimes, and sometimes those things, work well together. You have downtime here, and this case is picking up. You got downtime here, and this other case is picking up. So when all of them are hitting, and there's a lot of information coming in such a large amount on all 3 of your cases, it really does. It's a lot of hard work trying to keep it all together. So I have some much needed information here. I'm sure it was expressed by oh Lord, I think he's the chief of police or something like that out there in Suffolk County. Anyways, so for the clarification on the room, and I think we covered some of it, that my understanding, I wanted clarification on it. We got clarification. It is a room, a large room with a vault type of door on it. This, even though it may be a padded room or a soundproof room by design, it wasn't intended that they were trying to say that this was like a torture chamber. So I wanted to clarify that. It sounds like this was the room that just housed, it was a large room that you could walk into that housed his guns, his many, many guns. The guns, he had 91 handguns registered to him. They also clarified that any black powder pistol are not what they deem as a firearm under the laws of New York. So those, if he had any black powder pistol, that would not be calculated in his guns as guns, because it's not a gun according to New York law. And So we have a lot of guns. I still haven't clarified, but it does sound like the amount of guns is over 200, but potentially under 300. They gauge it between 200 to 300 guns, and 91 of them or 92 of them were handguns that were registered to him. So all these other guns, these rifles and other things, those weren't properly registered to him, and those were also in that vault. So different parts of New York, everybody thinks, like even me, whenever I went to New York the first time, I thought New York was city. I don't know why I thought that. I guess, I don't know why I had this conceived notion that the entire state of New York is a city. I didn't know that. I never visited there before. You only see New York City, Manhattan, Brooklyn, these places that, when you've never been there. I never realized how big New York is, how much farmland is out there. Outside of that major, the cities, Long Island, Manhattan, all those big city areas right there in the New York area, the city of New York. And that's really it. And then outside of there, it's hills and greenery. And I was just, I don't know, I guess it was interesting to me. So there's farmland in New York as well. So farmers need rifles. They need to protect themselves. There are still places in New York that have wildlife, that people are in rural areas. And you don't really think of that. So those people also, but they still required to have their guns registered in the state of New York. And he did obviously know that process and properly registered 91 or 90, I'm unclear, 91 or 92 guns. So I think it's 91 for some reason, or whatever. They said the house is a crime scene, which I think it should be. Yeah, it is. Purge Sailor says, morning, BHB, catching up with everything. Well, it's nice to have you, Lovebug. Have no fear, I am here. That's funny. Right along with your coffee mug. But I have some, before we get all into all of that, I do have some disturbing stories that I do want to bring up. This first one, it's just, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I think I just want you guys to understand what happened in Las Vegas with these children. And, but I'm not going to play the whole clip. It is pretty upsetting, nothing graphic or anything else like that. And why we're just going to be, showing this, it's going to be fleeting in nature for the encompassing, segment. So that's why I opted to go ahead and put a little snippet of this in here, because it was really upsetting for me to see. But God bless the law enforcement in Las Vegas and the people that reported this family. So you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Hold on a second. Let me push this up just a little bit. Hold on. There we go.
Disturbing video as police rescue two small children discovered locked in a cage. The two adults who live there now behind bars themselves. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Brian Loftus.
I'm Denise Valdez. 8 News Now investigator David Sharns first told you about those arrests. Now he has video you're seeing first on 8 News Now. David?
And we do want to warn you that this video is hard to watch. Police say they found 6 children, all under the age of 11, all showing signs of child abuse. 2 locked in that cage, and one of them with injuries so bad, police say his father thought the boy was dead.
And that's where I'm going to cut it on there. I wanted you guys to see it. I'm going to drop the link. You guys are more than welcome. You guys are more than welcome to watch the entire news segment yourself, but that's all I'm willing to put up on my channel related to this case. In the body cam footage, they did blur out the children, which is part of, they're victims. Their names and everything should be blocked out. But when they went in the house, they were seriously locked in a cage. And I think it's important for the world to see what is going on with our children and why everybody needs to be active, basically advocates and activists in your community fighting for our children. This is not just here in Florida. This is not just in Las Vegas. This is happening all over our country. And we come here every day and try to bring awareness to what parents are doing to their children. And, we understand that it's a political talking point to say we want to reunify as many children with their families. You know what? I'm so sick and tired of that political talking point, because where I sit, some of these children don't deserve to be with their parents. Their parents, let me say that backwards. Their parents don't deserve them. Let me say that differently. It's not that they don't deserve, their parents don't deserve them. They treated them deplorably. They treated them despicably. They treat them, their animals are walking around more freely than their children. Now, I'm sorry for the politicians across this country, but those that are sitting here on their high horse wanting to reunify children with parents, God bless you. But you know what? There's certain situations that talking point falls on deaf ears, and this would be one of them. I would be disgusted if these parents received their children back. I don't care what kind of counseling they went through. I don't give a rat's patootie. Parents that do this from their kids, they'll never change, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just a little hard ass. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I just don't want to risk the children. Maybe that's it. Maybe I just don't like the parents. I don't know. Call it what you will. I'm sure somebody will make something up here soon enough about this talking point. But our children are under attack in this country. And I don't care what people out here on social media, mainstream media, or people's opinion about it. I will sit here and fight for all of this. And I'm going to call out nonsense. I'm going to call it out. And for the politicians out there that think this is a good practice and a good talking point, maybe you need to come to reality and look at some of these videos of what these parents are doing to these children. And I also want to plead with our politicians across this country, quit taking these children out of these homes if you're not willing to press charges against their parents. If you do not press charges against their parents, you should be required to return those children back to their home. Why am I saying this? Because I'm sick and tired of lack of due process in these cases. Good example, Don Wells, horrible parents. Candace Bly, horrible parents, treated their kids like garbage. All of their children, even the 2 sets of children they had before they had Summer and her brothers, treated them horribly, had them taken away because of abuse, because of violence, because of them being dirty, because of neglect, because of abuse, just a laundry list of things that they were taken away from. No charges against them except for Candace, because she pointed a shotgun at a social worker, but she didn't go to jail. She went to a padded room instead. So now you got Don Wells and Candace Wells deciding to procreate again with four children. One of those children are missing. It just so happens after a visit from the Department of Children and Family Services in Tennessee, their daughter just up and disappears. Lots of information about that, lots of speculation on that case as well. But I do believe that everything leads back to that house and leads back to her parents, and her parents know what had happened. But again, they removed all 3 of those boys. Their living environment was atrocious. We had the guidelines from the Tennessee Department of Children and Family Services and read through their criteria. And for removal, Don and Candace met that criteria years ago. And those kids were still in their care. Well, now the state has now removed the other 3 boys 30 days after Summer Wells went missing, right? But they've never been charged for the crimes against their children. Yet so far, those children have not been rejoined or reunited with their parents, leaving 3 mouths for the taxpayers of Tennessee to have to now pay for. My problem here is those parents should have been charged. They should have been charged decades ago. They should have been charged years ago before Summer went missing. And they damn sure should have been charged when those boys were removed from their home and not returned. And still yet no charges. To me, that is a form of kidnapping. To me. Government kidnapping. Because you have no reason to remove them. Because if they committed a crime, they should be charged with a crime. That's how it works here in this country. So this whole family BS, let's keep everything away from the people. Let's say, oh, it's because they're underage, so now we can't give them, we can't let you know what's going on in their case. We're not going to be transparent with the people that pay us, the public. No, we need to work across this country in implementing laws that make these people's identity case numbers or numbers, so they're anonymous, but we can still have access to what is going on in these cases. This lack of transparency when it comes to our most vulnerable, our children, we need to stand up across this country and say, we're done with it. You guys need to be in your local communities saying we need better laws. We need to be prosecuting people that are injuring our children. That is your responsibility. Us creators can only do so much. We can only bring awareness to a situation, but it's the responsibility of the people watching that this really gets under their skin to do something about it in their community. I did as much as I can. I even went to CPAC. I went and talked to a lot of some decision makers in this country. And you know what I was told? I was told that basically we have entirely, this is what I was told. Now, I'm not going to tell you the people that told me this, but they have entirely too many hard-pressing issues, national security issues, because we got spy balloons in the sky. We've got, Russia with their submarines off our coast, real national issues that could affect all Americans in this country. And so they're focusing on these major issues that are going on. Never mind all these unnecessary investigations, pissing contests that we're having in our government as well. But you've got and they're basically telling me that this doesn't rise to the level of the stuff that they're working on. So they're basically telling me, unless we can get the states together to start, coming together and advocating for better laws, they're not going to do crap about it. And that is being told to me. And I'm telling you that I learned back in March. And I got to tell you, it took a lot of wind out of my sail. It took a lot of wind out of my sail that we have national security issues in this country that are more important than our children. That's basically what I heard. And it wasn't them doing it. They can only do so much. But trust me, it's not going to be pushed through. The only way we're going to push it through, honestly, is to force our states to come together. And we need to have at least 34 to 35 states that agree that we need to do something. And so far, I haven't been able to get that. Good morning, JJ. So that's where we are with that. So, I need help. And the audience and the people out there that are watching this on replay, the people that can help me are you. How much are you willing to do for your children, to protect the children of this country? Something has to happen. I can tell you that. Something has to happen.
White or Hispanic middle-aged woman with brown hair and approximately 5 feet and 4 inches tall. The remains in all 3 suitcases are that of the same woman. It's believed to be an isolated incident.
So there's that. And then we have some other updates on... We have a police chase in progress. But when that case first came out, I did that one that you just heard about, the lady in the suitcases. It sounded like there was 3 people in a suitcase. So I'm glad. But Justin on TikTok clarified that in one of his TikTok posts after I dropped mine. And they believe this woman is either white or Hispanic, about 5 foot 4 inches. They didn't really give a weight, but they said she had a floral top with a black undershirt and black shorts. So if that sounds familiar, again, they can't identify. She's got brown hair. That's about as much as we know. And it is possible she's either Hispanic or white. Here's one. This is a case that you guys know I covered. I went out to Madalena Kojikari's area in Cornelius, North Carolina. And so we're having some updates from her mother. I've been hearing about these, but have not had an opportunity to discuss them for about a week to 2 weeks. There's been some conversations that some stuff that's been that have been unsealed in the court record. And it's basically some of the statements that Madalena's mom has made. And apparently this actually I personally believe, based on the information, that she is deceased. I believe she's deceased, and I believe her stepfather killed her. The reason why I say that is because I went to her community, and while I was in her community, I spoke to a lot of people, and there were not a lot of people, but a few people, and there was a lot of telltale signs. Here are a few things that I learned while visiting the area. I learned that she was not allowed to play outside, or play with the neighbors, or even walk that community alone. Her stepfather was always by her side, always. Why? I have a problem with that. A 12-year-old girl cannot walk around her in this community. That area was nice, beautiful homes, beautiful cars, safe environment. Something that I would have no problem with a 12-year-old. I would have no problem with a 7, 8, or 9-year-old being out the front door playing in the yard. I just wouldn't. This was a nice community, not a whole lot of traffic. But the stepfather, this is not even her biological father, needs to walk with her, won't let her out of his sight. That's a telltale sign to me. Something is not right. When I heard that, that is a red flag for me. That is a red flag because what happens is when you have a house of abuse, you are so, especially with young kids, you are so worried that they're going to let something slip, that they're going to be in passing, or they may ask somebody for help. Maybe it's gotten so bad in the home, they may be reaching out saying, hey, can you help me? My dad's holding my mom hostage, or, you never know. I'm not saying that was the case. Somebody was held hostage, but that, you get what I'm saying. You get the drift I'm making. So he basically would not let her out of his sight, would not let her be a 12-year-old kid. The only time she was away from her family was at school. And she was very, quiet, nice girl in school. And she got off the bus, I believe it was November 21st. And by November 23rd, she was gone. Her parents never reported her missing. They never reported her as a runaway. Her stepfather ended up taking this long trip to a different state during that time. So now the mother believes that the stepfather sold her. Now, the stepfather is basically claiming he doesn't know what happened. When he came back, he noticed his wife had a big bag of money. So now he's trying to say she sold her. To me, if you're saying you sold somebody, you most likely killed them. I'm sorry. I don't know if any parent that's going to admit or think that their spouse, and not only that, but where. How would this man, right? Let me find out. We have 221 people in my chat right now. We have 224, but 3 of them just dropped. So we have 221 people in the chat right now. Out of you folks that are in the chat, whether you hate me, like me, whatever, I don't care. How many of you right now know where to go sell a child? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you know where to sell a child. How to find somebody to purchase a 12-year-old kid. Put a 1 in the chat. If you don't know, put a 2 in the chat. I'm just curious. I mean, these people don't have a lot going on for them. They're not techie people, right? So by all means, help me out here. How many people? I got a lot of more techie people in this chat than I. So how many of you guys know where to go look where you guys can just find a buyer for a kid? And if that's true, wouldn't you be a little more concerned, like what was going on in the house before that situation happened? For somebody, look at that. JJ says he knows. Ghost Casper says he knows. Okay, so all these people that are here, which typically don't like me anyways, where do you go? Put your money where your mouth is. So we got, I want to see where you would go. Let's see who did this. So we've got JJ, where do you go to sell a kid? Since you know, I'd like you to inform my audience. Where do people go to sell kids? You say you know. Ghost Casper, literally Davis family, you too. Don't say you know when you don't know, because you're going to be called out. Actually, I'm going after literally Davis family. Not the JJ. I really don't care. You don't really bother me. I don't know who Casper is, but at the end of the day, where do you go? I'd like to know. They've been stores. There's stores about eBay and Craigslist. No. That wasn't my question. Do you think you know? No, I didn't ask you if you thought you knew where to go. I said, do you know, a lay person? Do you know as a lay person where to go to sell a 12-year-old kid? That was the question I asked. Not that there's possibly a store on eBay or a store on Craigslist. And if that is the case, show me. Because I don't believe it's happening, that this kind of stuff is happening on eBay or Craigslist. I mean, it could be. You know, the actual ST part of it, that means the parent takes the kid home when they're done. That might be elicited on some of these other platforms using these rows and all this other stuff. But I'm talking about selling this to, say, the cartel or somebody that wants to purchase this child. Because this is the point I'm trying to make. No normal person knows. No normal person. Everybody that said, the three people that said one in here, they truly do not know where to go. Is that a fair statement, JJ? I mean, I believe you're honest enough to, I wouldn't ask the other two, but I believe you would be honest with me about that question. Okay. Oh, sorry, JJ. It's not like I got photos here. I guess I should have figured it from, but even Betty Boop, like there's so many men that I know that loves Betty Boop. But you don't, JJ, since you do talk to me, you don't physically, I mean, not like you would be selling kids or anything. That's not what I'm saying, but you don't know for a fact where you as a layperson, if you have a daughter and you're just saying, hey, I'm sick of my daughter, I want to go sell her for a bag of money. You personally don't, as a layperson, as somebody that doesn't do this every day, you don't know where to go to do that. Would that be a fair statement? Would that be a fair statement? Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't think you would, but you know, there are some people out there that say there's this black market site that is absolutely disgusting. That's what, you know, so that's what I was doing. It was, do we know? So I think I proved my point here in this conversation. Normal people don't know how to do this. So please explain to me how these parents in Cornelius, now mind you, Cornelius is a very small community. Very small community. And so how is this father and mother that aren't these brainiacs, these computer techie people, how are they able to find a buyer for a 12-year-old? You just don't go on the internet and say, hey, I got a 12-year-old for sale. You want to meet me in Michigan to pick her up? It typically doesn't go that way. But it is alleged in here. This is the case that it is alleged. So, I mean, we do have a possibility at this moment that Madalena Kojikari may have been ST'd or HT'd, according to the new information coming out. I don't believe it. Personally, I really probably nasty chat rooms. Yeah, you're probably right, JJ. You're probably right. But either way, I just don't see where normal people, like, first of all, it bothers me that anybody would even be searching that to begin with. You know what? I have a problem, and maybe I'm going to have to bite the bullet and just start doing some research on it. But I have a problem of even, like, I don't even want to believe these things exist. Like, I really just don't want to believe these things exist. This typing of goes things on every day right in front of people. The most recent case is a 2019 New York starvation cult. I'm not sure what that was all about. Jennifer, some show will bring in the child. I saw it last year with my own eyes. So what was that? Hold on, let me go up to Kelly Sue. Kelly Sue seems like she might be having some information. And I apologize, JJ, if I called you. Not that I know. But I have to tell you, I have friends that literally have Betty Boop tattooed on their arms. So even with the Betty Boop, I wouldn't have known because I have my friends, guy friends that have Betty Boop tattooed. Why anybody would bet. But I guess Betty Boop was like this iconic, I don't know, cartoon, sexy cartoon. I don't know. It's weird. I think it's weird. for guys to have Betty Boop tattooed. That's what I'm saying is weird, not Betty Boop. I like Betty Boop. Good morning, Lady 7 Up. It's nice to see you. Let's see what else it says. Yep, Betty, something's going on. She's likely dead. They were traffic her long before she vanished. Drugs, maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like if he had this in where he knew where this goes, that makes me a little more concerned, because that means that he was probably doing stuff to her, because there is an underbelly. I'm telling you guys, there is this creepy underbelly in our society, and we have to be cognizant of that. And these creeps are starting to get into our political affiliations and stuff like that, and starting to drive some of the stuff that's going to do nothing but hurt our children. And I hope you guys are paying attention and listening to what they're saying without saying a word. And I'm telling you, our children are in jeopardy. If this is not showing you, we can come in here. Think about it. We can literally come in here almost every single day and talk about one of these cases. And it's going to be a new child and a new face every single day. I could probably run a show 3 or 4 times a day. And it's just the faces, they're starting to get so many, and there have been so many for years. And then I find out we're not doing anything in this country still to this day in 2023, literally nothing. That all the same policies that we had for interstate and stuff like that have not changed since 1969. That to me is failing our kids. I don't know what it is to you. I don't know what it is to the haters that like to attack me. I don't know what it is, but that is failure. That is failure. Failing to protect our kids. I know that the people that love their children, you have nothing to worry about. You probably will never, ever, ever come into contact with the Florida Department or any kind of Department of Children and Family Services. God bless you for being great parents. But what about all those children? And we know we can go into any one of our communities and go down and see all the drugs and the decay in our communities from all of this substance abuse. We can see it. All those people have children. What about their children? We have to protect them too. Yes, on the comment, Jen, that was at 9. Yes, on the comment. Report. Okay. And then we have 5 gifted memberships. Oh, thank you, ZA. God bless you for that. And Van Lady says, love you, Betty, and the coffee beans. You guys remember who coined us the coffee beans, right? It was Steffers, our beloved Steffers. She used to always come in here and say, hello, coffee beans. And we just kind of took it, right? So what was the other one? The other one, I remember there's something that I was about to go over. Oh, yes. So I also wanted to thank, we'll get on to this conversation. I'm actually done with that conversation. I just want you guys to know that our children are under attack and what happened to Madalena Kojakari, since I did actually make a physical trip out there. I know I've been really bad for the people that have been contributing and helping this channel grow. And so I wanted to give some shout outs that I have not given in a little bit. Lula, and this goes back for quite some time, back to June. This is June 21st. I know I've been kind of slacking. I don't think I've been slacking that long. Let me go up here to July. I know I've been slacking all of July. So I just want to give the shout out to all the beautiful people that have helped support this channel through the month of July. Carla, Jennifer, ZA, Southern Grammy Wolf, The Real Me Too, Lula's Nana, Jazz King, Jean, Sepsis Kills, Van Lady, Sylvia, Just Some Guy, ZA, Roxy, Flashy Lights, Mad Chatter, Guidance, Stacy, Kat, Vel Ray, Lori Lowe, the entity, Vicky, and Miss Lee, mom of 3. And I wanted to tell you, I always try to get, if I see them in my chat, I'll put them up on the screen, but there are some things because I run on StreamYard. There we go. I have to do the opposite hand, right? I forget that on this thing. So I do StreamYard, and for whatever reason, and I also tried RealStream as well. And your milestones and your membership, your gift memberships don't come through on my chat box here in StreamYard. So I have to go to a different area to check for those. And so I do miss them often. And sometimes when I'm running late on time, I'll just say, I'll see you later, guys. And I forget to go over there and make sure that I recognize you. So although I didn't recognize every one of you guys at the time, I did want to tell you thank you for your support, your lovely support throughout the month of July. We have a few more days in July. I'm really kind of excited for August to start. I've got a lot of great plans from August to the end of the year. So yes, Regina, I do believe so. I do believe so. God help me. But I believe, you know what? Even our narcotics that come into this, it's a whole underbelly of people that have networks, and they are as sophisticated as some of our corporations. That to me is scary, that these cartels in some respects are more sophisticated and have better logistics than some of our companies here in the United States. So don't think anything that's of value, that somebody values, whether it's a disgusting yearning that you need to have, that's just completely disgusting. This is what, the one thing I like, the over wealthy, the ultra rich have some weird appetites because they've had everything else. They have some weird, disgusting appetites because they know they are the only ones that could afford something like this. So I don't know. There's some twisted people out there. Let's just say that. And you know what? I've met a lot of people in my life. I've come across a lot of people, over the last 10 years, with all the politics and stuff like that. I've met a lot of wealthy people. I've met a lot of people that didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, that were advocates and activists. I've met just beautiful people across this world. And I got to tell you, some of the creepiest people I've ever met, because I've always been taught and I always say this to you, I've always been taught, if you want to be successful, you hang around people that are successful, people that can teach you a few things. I was also always taught that when you meet somebody that is wealthy, ask them how they did it, ask them what their stuff was, so you can learn from them. But one of the things that creeps me out more than anything in the world is the appetite of some of these people. And we're not just talking about the rich people in the United States. This is a worldwide network, okay? This is a black market. And many of us, when we were in the 80s, the black market consisted of us getting the cable boxes. Remember where we were sick and tired of paying for cable, and you could pay $200, which at that time was like $2,000 current currency. For this little box, and you had to buy a box for each one of your TVs, and you plug it in, and you could watch, HBO, Cinemax, Showtime. You got everything. You got the whole package. They had this. It was a decoder and encoder, some weird thing that they had back then, back in the 80s. And I remember that was the black market we grew up with. It was these things that cut our cable bill. It wasn't children. It wasn't exotic animals that we're not supposed to have. It wasn't poisonous reptiles that should not be in the United States of America. It's not going out and getting a tusk of an African elephant. The higher, the more wealth some of these people have, the more deranged they get. I can't explain it. I knew some people that prior to being very wealthy was one way, after well was somebody I never even recognized. And it's real. This is real. Appetites change. The more money you have, the more you feel like you're untouchable and that you can push the envelope. This is not an envelope anybody should be pushing. These are children. And I think it's disgusting. So here's some information. I'm only going to take just a few seconds of this because I think it's.
I spoke with Emery Anthony. He is the attorney for Carlee Russell, and he did confirm that he does expect charges to be filed.
Oh.
He does expect that to take place. So,
and I had said that too after hearing his statement. He's expecting. This is one of the things that he said. He says basically. Carlee, fabricated this. He was meeting with law enforcement. It was a good meeting. I'm pretty sure he was there to try to lighten the blow on the charges she's going to get. He refuses to proffer her a response or let law enforcement sit down with her to question her. So what's going to end up happening is he's already let it known that he does not want his client speaking to them in that meeting. So when they go to arrest her, they will be arresting her. Either they're going to coordinate with him. He's a high power attorney in that area. So he'll be getting a lot more respect from the courts because of his position and the name that he has made for himself. Whether you think that exists or not, it does. An attorney that's well known in the area, they tend to pander to, as opposed to somebody coming out of the county or something like that. So if he says, can we please not go and make a big charade? I'll bring her in. When it's time to turn her in, we'll come into your police station. Let's not make a big deal and have her arrested at her home. He might be negotiating things like that as well. A lot of people don't realize those things are negotiated by attorneys as well. That is true. So Nori, this is related to Carlee Russell. Many people have been waiting with bated breath for her to be arrested. It sounds like she could be arrested as early as today, but I truly do believe that she will be arrested this week. I did hear in the back, in some of my back rooms, that they were requiring her, they were going to withhold, and it made me question this because of what the statement of the attorney was. So I heard in the back room, now I don't know how accurate this is, but this was days ago. And I was told that she was basically said she needs to either go in for an evaluation or they were going to issue the arrest warrant. That's what I was hearing. Or maybe, telephone. So it may have been, it could have been something related to that. It could have been maybe a conversation with her attorney saying, hey, maybe you should go to an evaluation. It will prevent you from being able to be arrested immediately. Maybe that was the conversation. And by the time it got to me, it got twisted around. So there are possibilities of that. Okay. That does happen. And it's not uncommon. So, but we were told that. And then we see that but you know what? One thing I didn't see is her, like, we know that there was cars at the home. We hear that she had a party in Atlanta, Georgia, which again, how can you go through this violent attack and then care about a birthday party, which was another telltale sign. We already knew that this was a hoax. We were just waiting for her to come to Jesus. But we haven't seen her. So even at that house, we saw her car. Her car came back to that house. I think it should be sold personally. I think her parents should sell it as a point made to her and give her a beater. That's what I think they should do. But I digress. We were told that she needed to go to evaluation or go to jail. That never happened. At least it appears that it didn't happen, or did it? We don't know, because I can tell you that everybody's been driving around that home for several days. We saw her car one day. We saw a whole bunch of people gathering at her house that people assumed was for her birthday. What if it wasn't for her birthday, but rather the family coming together because she had just went to turn herself in to be evaluated, to go under a 72-hour evaluation? So far, we have not seen Carlee. We haven't seen her in or around her home. We heard this allegation or this rumor circulating, days ago. She wasn't produced for a scheduled hearing with law enforcement, and her attorney decided to provide a statement instead on her behalf. So is she in this mental hospital? Is she being evaluated right now? It is a possibility. I have nothing to corroborate that with. Again, this was from days ago that I heard this, but with him not producing her for a scheduled meeting with law enforcement and producing only a letter, I'm wondering if, in him being a high-powered attorney, and he's going to have some mitigating circumstances, she could possibly have taken a 72-hour staycation at her local mental facility there to help, counter some of this, mitigate some of these charges that are going to come her way, or at least giving the court some mitigating circumstances to reduce the repercussions she's going to have to pay when this goes to a criminal trial. Her attorney was very specific in letting us know that he is a criminal attorney, and that, people that don't have problems don't need attorneys. Clearly, he's an attorney for her, i.e., she has problems that needs legal representation, criminal legal representation. So there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, whether this is a criminal investigation against Carlee Russell and whether she is going to be thrown in jail because of it. She will be. I presume that some of the conversations, Lucky Mala, yeah. Who is Lucky Mala? She is another attorney that is also working on the case. So it sounds like they have two attorneys. I'm not sure why. Maybe Lucky Mala is representing the parents, while Emery Anthony is representing the daughter. I don't know why, because he was very clear that she's not an associate of his, that she's just another attorney on the case. So why is she another attorney on the case? And whose attorney is she? Did they hire two attorneys from two separate law practices? So I'm unclear, where Lucky Mala is, what she's doing. What is it? Hold on. I saw everybody say congratulations to TLC. Oh, Cynthia, thank you for the gifted membership. I was seeing if I missed somebody. God bless you. God bless you. I wish I could show it on here, but it won't let me post it on this side. I could probably pull up my other side, like my back screen, and see it. But thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Lucky Milan has her own firm, Christine Isabel says. So I'm curious. Yeah. So, did he hire, sometimes but he seems like a well-to-do and a well-known attorney, and he's run for mayor several times. So I'd have to assume, now this is a problem, I'm assuming he's got probably a nice law firm of his own that has associates and other things like that. And typically you bring in your own associates or your own associate attorneys for second chair or something like that. So I'm very confused where Lucky Milan or Mala or whatever her name is. I thought he said Mala, like M-A-L-A, Mala, but I could be wrong in the pronunciation or the spelling for that matter. So anyways, that's enough on Carlee Russell. I do anticipate in the coming days that she will. I think Roses blocked me. Well, they can block you on here, and if they block you, you're definitely not blocked on the channel. So that's really the only, if you feel that you were blocked by accident on this channel, please make sure you email me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and I'll look at unblocking you for that. So anyways, coming back, let me get moving on, because I've noticed I spent way too much time kind of advocating for our children. Just some things just boil over in me. And when it comes to our children and the fact we've had no real meaningful legislation in our Department of Children and Family Services, it just breaks my heart, because I keep seeing case after case after case after case, failure after failure after failure after failure after failure. And I'm tired of seeing it. And you know what? Maybe by campaigning on these things and people seeing the disgust that goes on in our country, maybe it'll inspire them and get them pissed off to go down to their counties and start fighting for these children and demanding their states come up with better solutions to protect our children. It's not our children. It's the children of the state that need to be protected. And they, quite frankly, in some cases, need to be protected from that very state that's saying that they're looking out for their best interest. Not all the time is that the case. And I'm tired. I'm just tired of covering these kids' cases. And I'm tired of constantly hearing DCF was involved. DCF was involved. DCF was involved. Did nothing, did nothing, did nothing, did nothing. Now the child's dead. Well, we got to go through the court. If it's not working, then find a system that freaking works. I'm so sick of the flipping excuses. Oh, we got to go to court and get a court order for that. Well, if that's too cumbersome, put some emergency rules in place that if you have an emergency where a child needs to be moved out, you can do it. But you know what? I think there are already rules like that. It's just these people that don't want to do their job. And I'm tired. I'm so tired of it. I understand they're overworked and underpaid, but they chose that profession knowing that, right? Let's be honest. The people that are going into these Department of Children and Family Services, you know what you were getting into when you went to school. That is one of the reasons many people got into it, because they know that people are overworked and underpaid and they think they can do a better job. So they go to college, get these degrees, and then get into the system, and then they start realizing how huge the problem is, and they start breaking down themselves. So even when you get good people coming out of the colleges, you wear them out. You burn them out. The system isn't flipping working, and our children are the ones paying the highest cost. And you know what? At the end of the day, their family usually doesn't even give a damn. But people like me, people like you do. And so I hope, people realize you can go and make changes. You can go out there and sit in a county meeting. You can call your representatives. You can email them. You can do a number of things. I have a lot of people that are housebound, bedbound, wheelchair bound, that comes to this station, comes to the show every single day. They have access to computers. You guys could be doing amazing things, emailing all these state people. There's so much that could be done to really advocate for our children. I'm from Florida. Florida's not the best, but I can promise you it's not the worst. And believe me, if we see a child being abused here in the state of Florida, you don't just get your children taken away from you. You go to jail and you have to deal with the court system for your crimes against those children. You don't just get your children taken away. You get far worse than that, because we want to make sure that we prevent parents from doing this. Not giving them a summer vacation, right? Oh, the kids are away and we're not going to jail. Let's go party. So this is another person that I watch and monitor on Twitter. It's Scarlett O'King News. And Scarlett's actually been in the chat a couple times in the past for conversations we have with Brian. And we went over the alibi, the reply to the alibi, which I'm glad she responded. Some people didn't think she was going, that Nancy Taylor was going to respond to it and just let it go. But she did respond to it. Basically saying they have no alibi. I mean, if you really want to break it down, and it was so funny because I read it to you guys, and Angel was in here trying to, get some of the air out of the balloon right up front. But it wasn't until it's like, so, and I think I even said it, so there's really no alibi. There's no real reply here. They're saying that it's going to go here. But listen to this. I love how she puts it just in kind of blunt language. That's why I like her. If you understood what they were actually saying, you would realize that this means defense has found no evidence to suggest Brian was elsewhere at the time of the crimes, because if they had, they would have produced it by now, pursuant to the rules of evidence and discovery. I think that is the best analysis of that alibi. So to the point, so factually correct, and so true, right? That's what they should have put in that response to the alibi. Just that, hey, we got no alibi, But that's basically what they did. The word salad that comes along with this pleading work, right? So I just found I loved it. She said it. You couldn't say it any more perfect. If you understand what, then she had a lot more on there than that. But that's just the part that I found a little dry humor in, because I'm a dry humor person, right? If you understood what they were actually saying, you would realize this means the defense has no evidence that to suggest Brian was elsewhere at the time of the crimes, because if they had, they would have produced it pursuant to rules of evidence and discovery. Because let's face it, the prosecution has requested discovery as well. Case in point. Case in point. No. Unlock the free access. Would you be interested in a few questions? Oh, why not? Are you interested in a personal loan? No, I'm not. Am I interested in ADT? No, I'm not. I've got crazy neighbors. I'm good. Are you interested in purchasing health care? Is there affordable health care out there these days? We'll say no. Okay, and then I got to put my email address in here. So what crazy email address do I want to do? Betty Boop. Okay, agree and submit. Thank you. Thank you. Continue reading for the next 48 hours. I appreciate it. Okay. Oh, I didn't have Kohberger have nothing burgers in jail. You know what? I'm sorry. This whole special feeding and eating and stuff like that, unless you have a doctor's note that says, well, I guess religious, but he's not claiming a religious privilege as to why he's vegan. He's just vegan. So I'm sorry. Healthcare is so expensive. Oh, you are not lying. You are not lying. So is dental insurance. Dental insurance is getting higher and higher and higher. Vision, those are things. I really don't like. I keep dental insurance because I've had bad teeth my entire life. It's amazing that I still have teeth at all, especially through my drug years, but I do. And I have no enamel whatsoever left on my teeth because I had acid reflux for many, many years before I lost a crap ton of weight. Brian Kohberger, defense files alibi response. We went through all of that yesterday. What else do I have? And here's something interesting also on it. And this I decided to bring up because I'm frustrated. And, we talk about how we've been duped for quite some time with, the Moscow police. And again, I didn't bother complaining about it because I felt that it was done for good cause. And that's the point. In good cause, I have no problem with it. They were trying to track down somebody that killed 4 people. If you need to manipulate me a little bit to get the job done, do what you need to do. Okay. I'm not going to cry over it. But there are some things that cause us a little bit of heartburn. And this is one of them. We were told Dylan Mortensen was sleeping during this situation. And they actually even included it into a press conference for the prosecution, where they said detectives believe on November 12th, 2 surviving roommates who had also been in the Moscow community separately but returned home by 1 a.m. November 13th, 2 did not wake up until later that morning. So they knew that Dylan, and that was even inaccurate in itself, because when we got the probable cause affidavit, let me pull this up just a little bit bigger for you. Sorry. I think that's about as big as it can get. So it's right there. And if you recall, we were told that they were separately out in the Moscow community. And then we find out from the probable cause affidavit that Bethany Funk was with Ethan and Xana earlier at that Sigma Chi fraternity party. So we learned that from the probable cause affidavit. So we were duped on a lot of different things. But one thing, and I've been trying to find it, and maybe this is where my audience or somebody out there on the replay crew could really help me in this feat, because, hey, TLC, nice to see you, love bug. And congratulations. I don't know what they were congratulating you on, but congratulations, happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy hump day, happy whatever day. I don't know what it was, but I know it was something special because I heard people saying it. So happy whatever to you. I tried to go back and read it to see what they were congratulating you on, and I couldn't find the post. So I'm sorry, but whatever it is, I'm happy for you as well. I'm happy for you as well. And so then we hear from Ethan Chapin's sister, but this is where I can get the audience to help me. I can't find that interview. I don't know if it was a verbal interview and not a video. It was just an article that she gave to him, or if she was on video, but it was the interview that Maisie Chapin had given related to her brother. And she stated in that statement that her brother, or excuse me, that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany, like Dylan Mortensen, when she saw the man in clad black, many people, even though they had nothing to go on, attacked people for saying that, was talking about Dylan Mortensen, saying she was shocked and frozen in fear. No, she wasn't. And I kept trying to tell people that. And then Maisie comes out and basically says that Dylan tried to text everybody in her house and nobody answered the phone except one person. So obviously all 4 people are already dead. So the only one person that could have answered the phone was Bethany. So what did Bethany and Dylan discuss in those early morning hour phone calls? And why did they wait until the next morning to call law enforcement? And what time did they get up? Because I'm hearing in rumors, now again, this is all speculative. I've got no facts on this. And unless something changes where I can get concrete evidence, I also heard that they were calling people early morning hours, like 9 and 10 a.m., and still didn't call law enforcement until noon. Now, again, this could just be horrible rumors being spread by who knows what, where. Again, these are just things I'm hearing in the back chat. It doesn't mean that just because I'm hearing them, it means it's true. But it does make us think because, even in the case of Carly Russell, a lot of the stuff that we were reading in those chats turned out to end up being true. And my alarm is going off to check the docket. And as you guys saw, the title of this show was The Idaho Courts Are Playing Games. They are. And if they don't stop, I'm going to be campaigning for a massive mail campaign. Not email campaign. We might incorporate email. Not a phone campaign. Another mail campaign. Because I'm going to start putting this stuff on the governor's desk. If they're playing games. So what they're doing in the state of Idaho is they are taking their court systems down at night. So at night when they close their office, they're turning off their systems. So nobody in the public that gets off work in Idaho or across this country can go in and look and inform themselves. They have to get information. So now they're forcing people to get information from people that could misrepresent the truth. Instead of being able to keep it open for the public to go review it for themselves, they're starting to shut their system down, which never has happened before, by the way. Throughout all this, they have never shut this down, but now all of a sudden, you're starting to see them shutting that system off when they close their doors at their offices, and that's not being turned back on until they open their doors. They're turning it off for the entire weekend, so anybody that wants to inform themselves on facts of the case, not getting their information from mainstream media or social media, people that want to know what's going on in the case and only get factual information, which judge has been demanding from the public to do, and now has absolutely prevented them from, when they get off work, to be able to go in there and inform themselves with the reality, the truth, not with talking heads like me or News Nation or ABC News or Joe Blow over here on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook, and this is really upsetting me because you're telling me you have a man's life, multiple men's life, in your hands, and you think toying with your court system is a great use of court resources. That is the most asinine thing I have ever seen. I don't want to hear this judge talking about he wants a fair trial, but yet is at every flippin' turn trying to block the public out of this trial. Do they really want me up there? Because again, I'm trying to get factual information out like many other responsible people about this case. And every time we turn around, the court is doing everything it can to prevent that. Every single thing it can to prevent that. And it's getting to the point where it's being known. And, our coalition of media, they had the rights, they had the rights to take this. They had 42 days from that to still challenge this. I hope they're going to challenge this, because now we got the courts, really messing with things. And maybe mainstream, maybe this is the coordination they did behind the scenes with the courts, right? I mean, we could go conspiracy theories that they're the ones, the reason why they're doing this is to prevent anybody other than mainstream media getting these documents and speaking to them, unless they do this for a living and have the time to go and look and be on their system every single day, like I do. Maybe it's trying to prevent the little people from being able to get the news out to their people. Whatever the case may be, it smells like crap. And the courts are doing this while they're saying we need to make sure this guy has it. You've got non-dissemination orders, gag orders, sealing records, secret freaking hearings, and now you're shutting the court system down. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I'm getting the stuff I need to run, but there's other people out there. It's not about Bullhorn Betty. It's about the real public out there that wants to be informed and informed factually. And you got a whole entire state monkey effing around with their system. Because if it was updating, they have that little thing that says, oh, we'll be down from this time to this time to update our system. We're not getting any of that. And it just seems so fishy that it goes down when the courts are over and pops up when the courts are back in session. It just seems very, very intentional and very, very, very un-American. This is a public trial. And I hope people start realizing that this court is literally, don't you guys have better things to do than to be policing the people you have no jurisdiction over? Seriously, this judge, the system. So if you guys feel the need to write letters to the governor, start doing it. Start doing it. Outline all this nonsensical garbage, this nonsense, this BS.
That was bullshit. Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
No, I get excited. I can turn it on and off, right? It gets your attention, right? I speak loud. I speak with force. I laugh it off.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Right? So yeah, it does anger me. I have no problem expressing that because I think it's good. I think it's very, very good to express your feelings. I think it's very good to let people know where you stand and let people know how strongly you stand on it. If I came here and said, "Oh, these court systems are, they're playing with the system. It's coming down, at when they close their office and going up, when they're just messing around with it. Doesn't have the same effect, does it? I've been doing this a little while. Just let you know. This doesn't have the same effect. But you come here and say, I cannot believe that they're doing this to the people of Idaho. How dare they block the public out, right? Much different. Don't you guys feel the difference of emotion in the way that it's presented? Like I could be here and say, detectives believe on November 12th, the two surviving roommates had been out in the Moscow community separately, but returned home at 1 a.m. November 13th. The two did not wake up until late that morning. But, we're learning through the, that document. What's that document name again? Oh, yeah, the affidavit of probable cause. Now, that affidavit of probable cause says that they were awake. So why do we have press conferences having they're sleeping? I just don't, I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. And that whole Rex Heuermann thing. Oh my gosh. gosh, I just can't believe that Rex Heuermann thing, man. That case just doesn't, it's not. They're finished with the whole search of the house and everything.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
I know. That's why we don't do it like that here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, right? So you guys get up, you guys get to get the excitement, you guys get to see my frustration, my raging on YouTube, right? Everybody always says, "Oh, she's raging." Okay, if that's what you call raging. I'd hate, you guys would have a heart attack if you actually seen me rage. Like, these people are too damn emotional and too damn sensitive on here. Like, when I'm raging, baby, you'll know it. You don't have to sit there and say, "See, right there, she was raging. Oh, no. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You'll be like, "Oh, now we know what we're talking about. She wasn't raging before. She's raging now," right? Right? So it's all about the presentation of it. Like, I could be as dry as possible and I could have no emphasis and no emotion here on this channel, but that's not how I roll, because I want people to feel what I felt when I was reading this for the first time, or, some of those initial thoughts that were rolling through my head when I was reading it for the first time. And you can't get that without expression. And I express greatly here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. And I think that's what really kind of ticks people off, is my expression. They're like, "Oh my gosh, she expresses too much. She's telling too much. Holy crap, we didn't want that released." Well, I'm sorry. I don't lie. So it just shows you that there is the media release on that. So we know that there was something going on. And you know what? It comes back to that whole situation where, remember when Brian Kohberger's attorney was trying to subpoena Bethany Funk? I think they know that this conversation existed. And I think that this conversation was more than a minute long. So that means they had extensive conversation. People are like, "Oh, it's only a minute conversation." Believe it or not, about 90% of all of our conversations on the phone these days are less than a minute. "Hey, how are you doing?" "I'm doing great." "Well, I got this problem," and you go into explain it. And even this talking, like where I'm talking right now, listen to how many words I've said in a minute hasn't even passed. So the majority of our conversations on the phone typically are under a minute, maybe slightly over a minute. But think about how much information one person can get into a conversation in 60 seconds. It's quite a bit. So I believe that there was an extensive amount of conversation between her and Bethany. Again, the only other roommate that chose to answer the phone, even though Dylan heard and thought everybody was up in the house. So, is that the reason why they believe Bethany has exculpatory evidence? It's coming, some of these things that we were hearing are, making its rounds here. And they're starting to, those rumors are starting to kind of paint a picture. Like, we're not allowed. We're now being able to plug some information that was not corroborated before into the story. And it kind of makes sense in certain aspects. Thank you for addressing this. Was Funk going to testify for the defense? I don't think she's going to testify for the defense. Like, she fought tooth and nail to not be their witness. Like that, I think that was the most appalling to her, is that this man that murdered her friends, they have the audacity to try to call her as a witness, saying that she has exculpatory evidence that could possibly help release him. Like, no, that ain't happening. So she fought. She got an attorney to fight it. Like, she did not want to be on that defense witness list, and she was being put on that defense witness list. She has already been through, just like Dylan Morton said, has already been through hell and back, because of the lack of explaining. I don't know what. I know that they were required to put her statement into that probable cause affidavit, and they really can't prevent the public from seeing it. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could have sealed it, but I don't think that they would have been able to justify the seal. And I think that's the reason why they had to come out. And I truly, truly, truly believe that the girls spoke to each other, and we don't know what they said, but we know that in colleges there are, some types of substances. People are experimenting with things. I experimented with things when I was their age. My little sister experimented with things. I think it's part of growth. We learn what we like and what we don't like. And so I have to believe that there might have been a level of, maybe some paraphernalia that would have gotten them in trouble or kicked out of school or something like that. Maybe they weren't seeing the trees for the forest, and or the forest for the trees. I always get that backwards. I don't know why. And I felt like there was something happened. I don't know why they took so long to call. I know we're never going to. And it's like, every time I start talking about the subject, I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse, because we're never going to learn unless something is filed that kind of, opens that up a little bit in a pleading. Otherwise, we're not going to learn about it until the trial. Like, I can't wait until this trial starts, because I have so many questions that I want to know what the answers were for them. And I know the trial is going to really answer a lot of our questions, but the impatience, like, I'm so impatient. It's like, I want to know what the hell happened. What is the state? Like, we know the state believes that Brian Kohberger killed these 4 individuals in their sleep, but we know that they have some evidence, but what are we missing here? I still feel like there's just this, and I tell you why. It's because the judge, even the court systems are playing with the court records. You've got the judge just not wanting the public in this. You've got the prosecuting not wanting the public in this. We know why the defense doesn't want the public in this, because we all think he's guilty. So we understand that. We absolutely, without a doubt, understand Brian Kohberger's reason for not wanting the public in. But everybody else, the judge is not protecting the rights of the people. They're not protecting. They're like, oh, we only have a 6th Amendment. Well, you have other amendments and other, constitutional rights and other, we have rights too, Judge. Like, what the F? He's not the only one that exists in freaking Idaho. If you didn't notice. Oh, sorry. He's not the only one that exists in Idaho, if you haven't noticed. Sorry. For the people that can't handle my commentary. I'll dull it down for you. I'm gonna be picking on that for a while. You know I am. I can't help it, and people are gonna hate me for it. She's picking on me. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. So we have all this. What else do we have in here? Oh, so here we go. Does anybody have, so we talked about Carly. We've talked about a few other cases. I'm looking at the chat box below. My daughter is at that age. All they do is text. It's weird to DM, didn't go downstairs, CBF. I know it's weird to us, but I can tell you it is a millennial thing. I promise you, because when I am with Olivia, we could be working, literally sitting right next to each other, working. And she will text me instead of saying, hey, do you know where this is? She'll be on her phone. She'll text me, hey, can you send me this article? Olivia, did you just text me? Did you just text me to email you an article? Is your lips sewn shut or something, girl? Jazz King, it's nice to see you. Nice to see you. So, if you guys have questions on those 2 other cases, now would be a great time to ask those questions, because I'm about to move over to Rex, and I know Rex, like, we're already at an hour and a half on the show so far. Does you guys want me to open does anybody want me to open the phone so you guys can call in and speak about this, or say hi to the group, or is everybody okay? Because I'm about to move over to Rex, and there's a 1, 2, how many tabs do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like I've got 7 tabs. I need to find someone who is. Oh, we should probably quit having half sentences. I always walk into it. We need to find someone who is what? A serial killer? Who is a cleaner? No, I'm just joking. just joking. I'm just joking. Let's see what we got going on here in the back chat. We're doing good. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great on the back side of everything. So we don't really have any, Rex is intriguing, yeah. So we don't really have anything, any other questions? Check my chat. I think I checked it. Let me just check it again. Here we go. Oh, okay. Did I miss one? Hold on here. Sorry, guys. I think I missed a super chat. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry, guys. It's not that I mean to. I just look all over the place. Just not. Okay, we got. Oh, I didn't see Southern Grammy either. Did I see it? Okay. Give me just a second, guys. I'm going to try to get this, and then we'll move on to Rex while I do some housekeeping items here. Still can't find it. There it is. It says, I agree. They have become like our Congress. We got a lot of problems. I definitely, without wholeheartedly, so let me go through. I forgot it does this. So morning BHB, catching up with everyone. It's nice to see you. BHB, check your, I'm checking. Hey, F says, I agree, Betty. They've become like our Congress. Southern Grammy Wolf super sticker. I'll have to go to the other side and see that super sticker. Thank you. God bless you. And Jazz King, good morning, everyone. Morning, Andra. Good morning to you too, Love Bug. And what else do we have here? And then we have a few other ones that I haven't seen. So give me just a minute. And those are Regina. Love you, Betty. Love you too, Regina. Thank you so much, and God bless you. We have Pittsburgh Nurse. Please hit that like button for our BHB. Thank you, guys. That's so sweet. Using your milestone. Oh, that's sweet. Cynthia gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. God bless you, Cynthia. God bless you. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Oh, and they did send me the picture of Southern, and it's good job. It's a fox because I'm a fox. No, I'm just joking. They're going to be clipping that and saying, golly, Betty's conceited today. You know? Oh, I'm sorry. Golly, Betty's conceited today. Don't know what to do with her. Oh, sorry. I need to stop. Okay, I really need to stop. And we got Jazz King, got that one. And then Cranky Pants. She's been looking at my ugly mug for 5 months. No wonder she's so cranky. All right, I'm done. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm done. Goes in the back. I can't hear, dude. Oh, I need to stop. Okay, so getting on to Rex. Now, this case is, you know, it's kind of, I think it grabbed our attention. This was one, I heard the deaths were in another spot and moved to the rooms. Some wild theories. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That would have been so noticeable. So noticeable. Thanks, Jazz King. So these bodies... Obviously, we now know who the Long Island serial killer is, at least allegedly. I think BTK's daughter, Carrie Rawson, she has been advocating for families like her for a really long time. I've watched her, even with Brian Kohberger, come under heavy fire, you know, with people that are just angry with her, like telling her she's just trying to get her clout. No, she's advocating, and she's using social media to do it. So, you know, back off, you know, just back off with that nonsense, clicks and views. You know, if you're a creator pointing the finger at somebody and saying you're in it for clicks and views, well, baby, so are you. Let's stop with the madness here. If you're on social media and you are a creator, that is how you learn from your audience what they like and what they dislike. So knock it off with the nonsense. Okay? Seriously, I'm over that argument. You guys are hypocrites and idiots. So let's stop. But Carrie Rawson is advocating for, you know, families like hers. Okay, she's, and I think she has a point as to why she's advocating for people like, because think about it, you've lived with a serial killer and know nothing. How could that be? You must have conspired with your ex, you know, father or ex mom, you know, whatever it is. You know, you conspired to help them cover this up and be elaborate, right? That's the kind of, oh, sorry, I forgot for the people in back. Sorry, you know, they could carry it up, you know, carry this out, and how can somebody in their house not know what they're doing? Is that better for you folks in the back? I could go all day. So, and I think that it's just our brains, you know, our brains are designed where we have our experiences and our experiences are that of, you know, in many marriages, there's not areas in the house we can't go to or ask not to go to, or, you know, we roam freely. We don't have secrets with our spouse. You know, when we go on family vacations, everybody goes together. Like, we don't so naturally, you know, when you have a family that knows everything, it's all up in each other's Kool-Aid. It's one thing, but so people think that because the wife and the kids lived with him, that somehow they had to have known this dark secret, this other life that he lived. And so naturally people would be wanting to attack the family. You know, we see it. We see people attack innocent people on social media with less evidence than this, right? And so I think she brings a reality to people saying, hey, you know, we're also victims. We should really be treated as victims because, you know, we didn't know our family member was capable of this. We didn't know about this. Like, we just had our whole entire world taken from us. And in all reality, they are victims too. They were in the dark. They would have never believed that their loved one was capable of doing this. And now you're finding out your father's arrested and in charge with, you know, sadistic stuff. And the shame that comes with that, and then people go and attack them as if they knew something. I think that what Carrie is doing is bringing a different perspective so people understand. I truly do not believe for her it is about clicks or view or 15 minutes of fame. She's already had her 15 minutes of fame. If she really, you know, she could have capitalized off that and she could be writing books about her father. She could be, you know, doing so much different stuff right now that would literally put more money in her pocket than being on here advocating for these families and talking about what her experiences were. I believe for her, it's cleansing because many people that have been through abuses, let's talk about it, that have been through abuses, that have, you know, drug problems, alcohol problems, what do? When you get clean and say NA, when you get clean in NA, you become what is known as a sponsor. You sponsor another person to help them along their journey to sobriety. That's kind of what you do. And so she's kind of that person. You know, there's people that are going to be going through a lot. We have a lot of people that have been injured. And this is a type of person that we don't understand, that she has intimate knowledge of, that could really help us understand. So I never understood why people attack these people that are also appear in my mind as victims themselves. Now, short of someone being identified as helping them, like I let me be honest with you. I think this is kind of going conspiracy theory type a little bit, and I don't really go into conspiracy theories at all, but it's like I got this uneasy feeling when we were reviewing that one girl, I can't remember her name, that really sparked all this to begin with. She called the 911. She was running down the road. You know, she was in this exclusive area, and she ran out of this one house. She had a customer and her driver was there trying to get her out of the customer's house. And she starts saying that she feels like they're going to kill her. And she started freaking out on them. And she ran out of the house and ran down to another house. And the guy didn't seem to be shook. Did you guys notice that? That the second house that she went to, when she was talking to the man, he seemed calm. It was eerie. Like, when I was in real estate, even though you can't, like I had a few gay and lesbian couples that wanted to find, a community that kind of embodied their lifestyle. And there are a few areas in the Sarasota area that kind of, you can't say it. They can't be like LGBTQ communities. It violates a host of rules, and real estate agents aren't even allowed to use it. But, as a real estate agent in the area, you kind of know where these areas exist, because people draw to them. And not only that, but other people in that type of community, they're already being, advised in their chat rooms, this is, pro, this is not, believe it or not, it's a lot of people that have issues. I don't have issues. And I know people are going to be, but you just made that post about the bathrooms. Listen, I'm sorry. You'll never convince me a grown man being in a female's bathroom is okay. I don't care what the situation is. God bless the people that have different lifestyles. God bless you. I really don't, I don't have any qualms with your lifestyle, who you with, I hope you're happy and I hope you go in love. But that has nothing whatsoever to do with my statements. I will never think it is okay for a grown man to be in a females that allows little girls to go into. I'm sorry. You'll never convince me that that's okay. And I'm sorry. You can call me any name you want. This is one that I would stand on the hill and die on my sword over. I'm sorry. This is just one of those things that you can have any kind of lifestyle. I've got gay and lesbian friends that are totally against this. And I'm sorry. I trust my judgment on this. I've talked to my friends about this, the ones that can enlighten me. They think that this is disgusting themselves. So I'm sorry. I talk to people that have scruples and brains, but no, you're never going to convince me that it's okay. Sorry. If it was adult bathrooms, I could care less. Adults are adults. We can handle it until something happens. A grown man that assaults a woman, there's still that potential there. But at the end of the day, if it's a bathroom that a child can go into alone, absolutely not. You will never convince me. Call me any name you want. I don't really care. I don't care. I really don't care. That you'll never convince me that's okay. But there's people that want the community and people that live the same type of lifestyle. So there are places out there. And why am I saying this? Why am I going through this dissertation about LGBTQ communities and stuff like that? It's because I was talking to another friend, and we were talking about this, and we know that there's an underbelly in society that gravitates toward children crap. There's an underbelly in society that gravitates toward this sedacious type of sexual misconduct, right? And I believe that there's also communities, because here is what just kind of, and again, could be a little too conspiracy theory, but I'm telling you, it was just something about that 911 call and how she went to that next house and that guy was not freaking out. Like, if you had a lady that looks like she's beat up, disheveled in my ritzy area and looks like a call girl behind a gated community, and you're not freaked out by that, it seems like the propensity of that community has an appetite for these escorts in their community. And it doesn't seem like it was the first time some crazy lady came screaming up on his door. To me, that cracks me up. That makes me wonder. I mean, you're not welcome here. Go make another 18 horrible videos about me. You're not welcome here. You'll never be welcome here. And you can create another account, and I'll block that account too. Since you hate me so much, why don't you not come here? I don't understand that. I really think that you have mental illness, that you hate me so much, and you insist on coming here and talking in my chat. To me, that is literally mental problem. If you hate me so much and you hate my content so much, why would you subject yourself to watch it? That's what I don't understand. Why would you subject yourself to watch it? Why would you even be here? Why don't you go make another 15 videos about me? Let me put some money back in your pocket so you can pay that electric bill, right? Or maybe you can just do your job and maybe expose some of the people on your side that are pretty disgusting and despicable themselves. Maybe you could do that. Actually have integrity. But I also find it awfully funny that you are a criminology major or have a BA in criminology or something like that. You're always on the computer. You work with animals, but always on the computer. You have all this extra higher education, but seem to not do a job and always have time for a computer. I'm confused. You seem to have a lot of major college accolades under your name, but there's no way to really verify that, is there? I mean, you stay behind an emoji. Nobody knows your real name, so you can't even verify if half the crap coming out your mouths is legit, right? But yet you're always over here trying to get people to go over to your page. It's really sad, quite frankly. It's really sad. But go ahead and use my name because we know you need a paycheck. We know you need a paycheck because remember, you're the smartest person in the room, right? You're this criminology major. You have this great job that has nothing to do with criminology. And again, criminology major, let me just tell you, that's only the behaviors. It's not law. It's only the behaviors of criminals and crimes. That's what criminology studies. That's why you don't hear me ever say, I graduated with criminology degree. No, I graduated with a paralegal degree, much different. So, you know, I'm just a little curious. I mean, it seems like you have a lot of time on your hands to be this elite brainiac that has all these degrees. That's all I'm saying. But to each their own, right? To each their own. So getting to this really kind of broke my heart, but it shows you the concern of the public. That's why when people say, "Oh, you're protesting in an area, you might disturb the neighbors." Look, if I'm not doing anything wrong and it's not unlawful, you know what? When there's an injustice, if the neighbors have to deal with it, it's part of it, right? When you have people going down the streets with hundreds of people in a parade and call that, and they can go into the very community and disrupt the entire community. I'm sure my little 5-person man show is not that much, but this goes back to, this is where my heart hurts because these families they're not concerned about the women that died. They're not concerned that this man is the Long Island serial killer that they lived next to for a while. They don't care about that. They're complaining about the choppers overhead. They're complaining about the the noise, the equipment, all this other stuff, how it's disrupting nobody gives a damn. Women die. Women die. You know, this is, in my opinion, what is wrong with some of our places here in the United States. You have a man that literally hunted down women, murdered them, dumped them in your backyard. And you're worried about the effing choppers above you? Oh, I'm sorry. For those people that can't handle the excitement, let me do it this way. For all those people that just can't handle it, can you believe that the neighbors, you got people down the road, bodies showing up in backyards on Gilgo Beach, and these people and these houses are more concerned with the choppers overhead. Okay. So now that I got that out of the way for you folks, now I'll get back to the exciting for my folks, okay? And so that really upsets me. And this is from Nerdy Addict, and he makes a good, there's no mention of justice from their neighbors. No mention of justice. And is it because these were just meager escorts and sex workers? Is that why? Is that why? Thank you, Kat. God bless you. Because I'm telling you, this is stuff that I go through in communities that I go into now. They're more concerned about being disrupted than seeking justice. You know, that could have been their kid, could have been their daughter, their mother. Thank God people in this community and in this country aren't as cold to worry about the choppers overhead, but actually digging in crap. Can you imagine the crap that they had to dig through in Rex disheveled home to try to seek justice for these people? These people are in hazmat suits, for the love of God. And they're worried about a chopper overhead disturbing their peace. Give me a freaking break. Now you know why we try to be nice to, you know, neighbors when we go into communities, but when we're going in there for the specific purpose, and many know that I never just go into a community. And I think we protested 3 times. I mean, over 2 years, that's literally next to nothing. 2 times, and all of them were with purpose and for a good cause. And, you know, there, in some cases, there's going to be people that are upset. It's expected. It's not going to stop me because I have a constitutional right to be able to do that. Now, they have a constitutional right that they can, you know, call and say, oh, they're doing this or they're doing that. But I can promise you, I've never just went into any community and pulled out a bullhorn and started protesting. That has never, ever, ever, ever happened. What you will always see me do is go into a community, and usually it's about 2 weeks. I spend 2 weeks researching every possibility in that. I do a major fact-finding campaign. You never see me. If law enforcement and everything is doing what it's supposed to do, and there's no injustice, and they're working the case and doing what needs to be done, then I go in there, I'm a fact find, I communicate, I tell people they're doing a great job, no different than like Moscow, Idaho. But when they're doing a terrible job and they're lying to their people like they did in Chatham County, 2 weeks from the time I showed up was the time I started letting people know of this injustice and letting them know that that girl was on double probation and could not pass a urinalysis. Why is she not in jail? She's accused of killing her 20-month-old son. Why is she on Tybee Island getting drunk and partying and being around other kids? It was a safety hazard. And if people don't understand that, that is not my problem. But if there's an injustice, I will act to it. And I have the law to support my actions. The law to support my actions. The constitutional law, supreme law to support my actions and conduct. And people here, and this is just with media, are concerned about the noise. Not the individuals or the lives he took, not the precious lives he took. Yeah, they were just sex workers. You're right. That was just them. They were just sex workers, right? But you know what? I guarantee most of them left children crying. Moms devastated, praying that they had one opportunity to save their child again. He took that away from them. He took sobriety away from them. He took a lot of stuff away from them. There's no telling what life changes that these women could have made and what changes they could have made in our community. Just because you're there at that moment doesn't mean you stay there. And there could have been a lot of women that came to recovery, right? We see hundreds of thousands every day learn recovery is possible and get off the streets. He kept all of these women from being able to do that. And people are worried about the frickin' choppers. So anyways, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to go ahead and kill the feed for today. We will start back in tomorrow, and we're going to be giving you guys some more information, especially on the Atlantic victims, the Atlantic City victims.
Alicia, Nate, thank you for more on this.
Yeah,
and
we'll
what we
just listen to a
expect
little bit.
next, we're joined by attorney Lexi Rigdon. Lexi, let's pick up where Nate left off. What do you
see in terms of what they're looking for. I was struck. This is the 9th day they've been tearing that house apart. You heard Nate say they haven't found any trophies. So coarse, but the thought that he might have held on to jewelry of some of these victims, or possibly a piece of clothing or something like that, they're going to, according to the police chief there, you're going to spend a few more days looking. What are they looking for?
Well, they're going to be looking for trophies, and that's something just at Dennis Rader. I mean, he's coming out and making his own comparisons. People who do these types of things, they keep trophies. And if what they're looking for are trophies, so to speak, in terms of jewelry, maybe undergarments, that's going to take a while to sift through. So even though the sheriff has said that they haven't found them, that certainly doesn't mean that they haven't found them yet. But there's going to be a lot that they're going to be combing through in this house, because reports have come out that they believe that some or all of these murders may have been committed in the house because they were apparently done when the family members were out of town. So
that's interesting. So and this is the good news. And again, we're going to go over more of this tomorrow, but this is the good news. One thing that I got from the last press conference with Suffolk County Police Department, the chief, they said that the house was, what did they say? He used a specific word, and it wasn't disheveled. It was, Betty, open the phone line for Turkey Man. Okay, I'll get the phone line. Let me open the phone line for Turkey Man. Give me just a second. But they said it was, it wasn't clean. Okay. So we talked about it yesterday about what it meant to me. Cluttered. I think he said cluttered. Didn't he say cluttered? Because I say, this is cluttered to me. Like, this is cluttered to me, but I don't think he meant cluttered like that. Because I've been in elderly people's houses, and what you find in elderly people's houses is, yeah, they said cluttered, is that as they age, they don't have the ability to clean as well, and so things start stacking up. And I compared it to that, and then I reminded people why I compared it to that, because Rex purchased that house from his mother. That was his lifelong residence. He's been in that house since he was a kid growing up, and he purchased it from his mother for, and I think it's borderline hoarding. And I even brought that up, that I think what they mean, they're not talking about clutter like this. I think what they're talking about is like, above, college dorm kid room, but below the, hold on, Turkey Man, you're gonna have to call me right back, because I didn't set you up yet. Hold on a second. And I don't want, there we go. Nope, that's not it. Turkey Man, I don't know what number you're calling from, but here, let me turn the phones on and go ahead and call me. I remember your number. Go ahead and call me back, Turkey Man. I'm ready. I'm ready for you. I didn't want to dox your number, but I'm ready for you now. It's going to be about 20 seconds. Actually, I can just call him back. That's what I can do. There we go.
It's me.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to hang up on you because I didn't want to dox your phone number, and so I got you pushed over to the right side. So you can talk. Everybody can hear you now.
All righty. Good morning, everybody. By the way.
Good morning.
There's a couple of movies that's on, and I wanted your audience opinion on them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Sound of Freedom, I think it's called.
Yep.
And also one of them is Barbie. And I really would love to have your audience weigh in on this, because as you were saying, it's family values that's got us where we're at.
Right.
The likes of. And we have to make a stand. I'm sorry. Sometimes we get offended because of our stands.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I offend someone, but we can look at what's right and what's wrong. And I feel like it's time that we quit being so butthurt.
Yeah.
Or offended as far as us not wanting make a stand in which way we need to stand.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time. And but anyhow, I was listening to you this morning, and the more you talked about all the problems with kids being abducted and all this, we as Americans, as in communities of families, need to make a stand that we are here to do what we're supposed to be doing. And I see so much we stand back and let all these things go by and never make a stand in that regards. But it struck my heart big time this morning when he's talking about the kids and how they are in a system, either DHS or DYD. But really and truly, as bad as you hate to say it, there are families that don't, just because their blood doesn't need to have the child.
Yeah.
Because you're making a death wish on that child, or you're putting them in a situation that they'll have problems from now on.
Yeah.
And
think about the PTSD that's associated with it. These kids, in many cases, were abused horrifically by their parents, and the states want to give them back.
Right. I'm just absolutely. It just tears my heart, and for people to sit back and say, I'm not going to make a stand. Hey, we're here for a short period of time, folks. Good, bad, or indifferent. And how you carry yourself, what you do, is leaving a legacy for your children.
Yeah.
And it's time that we say, okay, this is not working. Me not saying nothing, me not making a stand, me not making afraid that they're going to come out and attack me, or they're going to come out and attack you. Well, okay. You stood for what was right, and I really would love to have a input on those two movies, because what I'm researching, I've been wanting to go see that Sound of Freedom.
I've got a free ticket for if you want to go see it. I've got a free ticket for you.
Well,
I may not work in your area.
I'm going to buy a ticket if I go, because I feel like that they played on a budget of what a real small budget, what I believe it was.
Yeah.
But this Barbie deal has really got me cranked up a little bit, because.
So what's going on with the Barbie? Is it just too inappropriate for kids?
Well, it promotes what I'm gathering. It really and truly promotes things we take offense in. This transgender, it takes away that my daughter. I'm proud of my daughter, and she can be all she can be as being my daughter. She has all the opportunity to be, instead of taking and belittling that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with that.
Right.
because it takes away from that.
And not only that, but Barbie has never been about issues, political issues. Why are they turning Barbie into a political issue machine? That I did not know about.
Well, that's what I want to get to the bottom of this, because the bottom line is this. It says raise a child in the way it should go. When it becomes older, it will not depart from it. We need to raise a child in the way it should go, that it can be all it can be. But I'm really concerned about how we, as people that look at it from a spiritual standpoint, and from what the Word of God says, what we're supposed to do as a good person,
mm-hmm.
as a person that looks at things with common sense, and this is not common no more.
Yeah.
And I'm just I really and truly, I'm over it.
It's common no
anyhow.
sense nowadays. Common nonsense now. Common no sense, common nonsense. It's not common sense. We have removed common sense out of our brains for some reason. I don't get it.
Well, that and it being said, and I just I've told you personally that I stand with you.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And but anyhow, people need to understand we've all have come short.
Mm-hmm.
All of us got a background. All of us got something we've done that we all have. But the bottom line is we don't still have to stay in that muck, and we don't have to stay in that direction. But we can stand up and make a difference.
Absolutely.
But anyhow, I'll get off. I wanted to say that little bit, and I wanted your audience to give a real input on those two movies that's out there.
Well, I can give you an input on at least one of them. The second one I haven't found, but I'll let the audience also speak about them as well.
Okay. Well, I'll get out of here, and you continue fight the good fight.
All right. God bless you, Turkey Man. God bless you.
You too. Bye-bye.
I'll turn. I saw somebody else was trying to call in too, so give me just a second, and I'll turn the phones back on. So, I went and watched The Sound of Freedom with Olivia, and I have to tell you, it was very impactful. I think it really enlightens us a lot about how this is happening. And you know what? The worst part about it is we have very little control, because a lot of these kids are coming from overseas. They're coming from other areas of the world, but it doesn't mean that they're not kids. It doesn't mean they can't feel pain, and it doesn't mean this isn't real abuse perpetrated upon them. And it's happening here, not as heavily as it's happening in other countries, but the problem that makes me sick to my stomach is we are the number one consumers of this garbage, of this abuse toward our children. There's a lot that we can do here. There's a lot. And I think that law enforcement has made great strides to help our children that are being affected in this way. Because again, a lot of these children aren't coming here from this country. They're being kidnapped from other countries and shipped here for the people that have sick and twisted, sexual proclivities. It's disgusting. And you know what? This is what's even more disturbing with me, because these kids are being smuggled in here. We have no idea what tune this is, or where these children are, or who has them. And then we're hearing about government officials, the people that have money to purchase these kids, these high-paid people. It's expensive, guys. It's expensive. So you have to have money in order to get these. And we are the number one place for these kids to go. That's sick. You know what? If you really want me here, why don't I give something for the clip channels here? You abuse a child, you diddly with a child, you should get snipped. Take that, clip that. Like, you shouldn't even have a penis. It should be removed. And I would say surgically, but I think that that's too kind. Unpopular viewpoint, right? You really want me? I mean, I would love to be in charge of sentencing of these PEDOs, right? I would love, because they wouldn't have any digits. Their digit would be gone. Their digit would be gone. Snip, snip. Bob at their butts. Bob at their butts. So I'm going to turn this on. I know there was one person trying to call in. The phones are back on. If you want to call in real quick, you can go ahead. I'm just going to leave this phone open to the person that called in from... Actually, I'll just call you back because you called quite a lot. I'll just call you back.
Hello.
Hello, this is Wandering, right?
Yes.
Okay. So did you have something I saw that you called several times and you made a post, so I just wanted to call you back.
Oh, well, thank you so much. We're about to be best friends. I don't know if you know that or not. I just was so focused on what you were saying just now about predators and what should be done with them. I want to take what you have a step further. I want them to be rented out to life sentence people that have good behavior. I want them treated the same way.
I mean, I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. I mean, that is a clever, hey, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
It'll keep crime down for sure in prisons and make guards' jobs a whole lot easier. Just throw them in solitary with whoever's got good behavior and shut the door.
Interesting. Yes, I agree. I think if people knew, but you know what, the bad part about it is some of these people might actually enjoy it, which is
like, okay, this isn't a plug or anything like that, but I work with a lot of survivors and their support systems. And the things that, I don't ever tell anybody's story. It's not my job. So I always call everybody either Susie or Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories I have heard from people it's heartbreaking, but the fact that we can come together and get so strong from each other, and there are those healthy boundaries in place, and you have anonymity if you need it. A lot of people don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I was actually calling, so I love what you're doing. I think it's awesome. I love how you have values, but you still stick to the facts. It's awesome. Just props.
I appreciate that.
But I wanted to talk about number 6, Jane Doe number 6, and the Long Island victims.
So is that the woman that had that was found with the infant, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and her remains were found in multiple places, and both were, I believe, separate from her child.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's going to be the one that tie all of it to Rex, because she was in multiple places, and so was her child, who was obviously with her. So I think that's, and I'm so sorry. I went over it very briefly, just survivor style, like their families, like let's show them love and support.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to stop. I couldn't cover it because it was, one, not my genre.
Mm-hmm.
I love true crime, but I can't cover it.
Right.
But it was so much victim shaming and family blaming, and I got physically sick. I had to stop because it was like, you don't know. These women could have turned their lives around. These women could have been working so very hard to just get back up on their feet. You never know if somebody had shown them love and support, like we're lucky enough to have,
right,
to where they had to fall down that path. You don't know. I mean, but I really think number 6, they did actually, her name, I can't remember it.
They did have her name. I know the only person that has said it right so far is Olivia, and she's got a video out, but for the life of me, I because it's not on my chart, they never identified her on my chart, but she has the name. I should have wrote it down, but I forgot to. So I don't even have that.
I read the timeline of everything. And once I think I started one video of how the families were handling it, I had to shut it off, because even the narrator of that, it was A&E, for crying out loud,
right,
was like, in such a high-risk profession, one can hardly blame the police for turning the other way. And I'm like, wait, what the?
I don't think they turned the other way.
Not my Batman
It was just
glass.
unorganized. They had too many chiefs and not enough Indians, or too many Indians and not enough chiefs. And I don't remember how it went, but they weren't coordinating. Like all the federal agents weren't coordinating with the local and state agencies. So it was a right hand, left hand issue that prevented this from coming to fruition.
Yeah, but I physically got sick when they started blaming the families and saying these women were, quote unquote, I hate this word or this phrase, but asking for it. Nobody ever freaking asked for that. You've got to be kidding me. But I just wanted to, I'm glad that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that's what I try to say. These women, they were already struggling. Their life was already doomed with what they were doing to themselves, and they were having to feed something that they could not control, because let's face it, most people, when they get in drugs, they don't expect it to take over their life, but at some point it does. And when it does, it's really bad, and you have to feed, at that point you have to feed it, and you're unemployable. So it's not like they woke up and said, hey, this is what I want to do for a living, but they still had an opportunity for to recover. They could have this at some point. They were either going to, make changes to try to get sober and change their life. And in some of these cases, I was hearing that they were starting to make some of those very changes. One of these people may have just had a minor relapse they needed money for, and now they're dead. They had that one high left in them, but not the last recovery, and they it's just sad.
It really, I mean, nobody grows up wanting to do that. Nobody thinks, nobody's just walking, through Walmart one day and decides, hey, you know what? I got a better idea,
Sorry, let me decline this. She must have just got situated. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just want to tell you, I think what you're doing is awesome. And I think that even though she went so long, I think her and her baby didn't have a name. I think now their name is going to be in history for being the one who showed he was responsible for all of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a tragic kind of poetry, but there's something that's really significant about that.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to find, I know this is a horrible case, and we don't even know how many bodies are going to be attached to Rex. But I always try to find the silver lining in all of these horrible stories. And hopefully the silver lining will be that maybe law enforcement, when they're dealing with this, starts refocusing who they're really looking for.
Yes, so much. I hope that too. And I try to be the same way. And I try not to let the bad apples turn the cider into cyanide. And, but it's hard whenever it seems like nobody cares about these poor lost souls. Like I really hope the same. Like, I think that's the only good spin you can really take on it. And you're absolutely right with that, because there has to be something that comes from this.
There has to be something positive that comes out of all this horrible. There has to be. And
right.
If we don't know what it is, we need to find it, because they've lost their life, and their life was lost in vain, but it doesn't need to stay there. They didn't have to die in vain. We need to find them a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Just remember, if anybody's ever in that horrible situation where you are approached unwillingly, you take a bath in that DNA. They got it all over them. Scratch them up.
And even if you're out there working, best practices, trust that gut feeling. If something tells you something's off, it's not worth the trick. Don't risk it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the whole, I don't know if you can recall off the top of your head, Mary Vincent. She was the woman who lost her arms. She's my absolute favorite survivor of all time. What kept her alive.
I've heard that name, but why am I not picturing it together? I've heard the name before, but I'm not identifying with any specific case.
It was Lawrence Singleton. He removed, that's the nicest way I can put it.
Okay. Gotcha. So she survived.
Mm-hmm. She survived just so he couldn't do it to the next girl. She kept thinking, if I just make it to the hospital and tell a cop.
Yeah.
But she's a painter, and she's a brilliant painter.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. But I think it's one of those things where, you just got to remember, he told her he had an empty van, and he told her he didn't have enough room to take her two friends with her hitchhiking. You got to trust your gut.
Yeah.
Always trust the gut, girls.
Trust your gut.
Guys.
Trust your gut and everything. Trust your gut. Well, God bless you, and thank you for the kind words, and God bless you. Have a great day.
No problem. Have a good morning. All right. Bye, hen.
Bye. I didn't mean to say God bless you twice. I just happened to roll that way. I'm like, God bless you. Have a great day, and God bless you. Oh Lord, we're cray over here. So that was really nice to hear from some people. I'm glad. I just want to bring awareness to, these workers on the street. And I said it much yesterday. It's not like these people wake up every day and say, hey, this is what I want to do when I grow up. It's not like that. Like, there's been major problems that happen in these people's lives where they just needed to drown out the feelings, drown out the noise. And then it ended up getting worse than that, because now they're addicted and they didn't realize what all that entailed. And they're finding out, and it's a bad way to live life. But that's why recovery is so possible. There's so many women that went from the streets, and are now living an amazing life of affluence, believe it or not. From the streets, it's like, Pretty Woman story. Not so glitz and glamorous, but through hard work and dedication and wanting to get sober, it happens. And I've seen it happen. I've seen the miracles, and he robbed them of that. He robbed their family of that. These girls could have lived wonderful lives. And you saw the families behind when they first made the arrest and they had that press conference. You saw their families. Now, these are family members that haven't seen their loved one in over a decade. The last time they saw him, they were pulling him out of Gilgo Beach sand in burlap sacks, dead. And 10 years later, they still, tears in their eyes. You can see how upset and painful that this is. It's because that was their family. Do you think they gave a damn that they were on drugs and out there in the streets? No, because they loved them. They loved them unconditionally. You know what unconditional love means? It means you love the person, whether it's right or wrong. You love the person in good time and in bad times. You love that person. You accept them for who they are. And in a lot of sense, they could have recovered. I hope they would have, for the sake of their families, but we'll never know. Now, will we? We'll never know. All right, guys, we'll go over the Atlantic City victims, potential victims. We'll start looking more into Las Vegas, Nevada, and as well as Chester County, South Carolina, as we are looking into the Long Island serial killer. These bodies that showed up in Atlantic City very well could be part of Rex MO, and it's too close in proximity for me to believe that there is another serial killer in that area, but who knows? We have a lot of them. We have ones that have never killed yet. We have ones that recently killed, like Brian Kohberger, and we've got ones that have been killing for generations, like Rex Heuermann. So I look forward to tomorrow morning. I may be back later today. It depends on if any new information is popping off. But I'm going to be monitoring this whole Idaho court system thing. I'm going to start making some calls and seeing what we can do, if anything, at least who's making the decision, or who is the decision maker to prevent this from continuing to happen, is where I'm going to be looking. So I'll be working on that for a good portion, at least for the next couple hours. And then we'll figure out something. So if you guys want to help, I'm just tired of these systems going down. It's not for me. I get what I need. I have the documents readily available for me, but it's for people that have a right to go and pull those documents themselves. People that aren't on social media, that don't follow social media, that would like just to be informed on what's going on in the case. They are being prevented from doing so. The normal public, the actual public, not mainstream media or social media. These are the real people in your community that you're preventing from even getting a hold of this over some stupid game. And I'm just tired of these games in Idaho. It's really making me frown upon the system there in Moscow. And I just can't wait for them to start challenging the venue to get the heck out of that county. I'm over it. They're playing stupid games, and I don't understand why. So, they're playing stupid games, and I don't understand why. There we go. Again, days I could go on with that. All right, guys, I love you. God bless you. Have a great hump day as you slide into your week. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe and kind to one another, especially in the chat box below. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.